Angi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punyashravana Kirtanaha Hridayantastohi Abhadrani Vidunoti Sugratsatam Yate Jamsa Kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indriyari Vyakulam Lokam Hridayante Yuge Yuge Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivisto Mattasmritirjnanam Apohanam Cha Vedaischa Sarvais Ahameva Vedyam Vedanta Krit Veda Vedyeva Chaham Param Brahma Parandama Pavitram Paraman Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Majam Vibhum Agastvam Rishyas Sarve Devarshir Narada Tata Ashita Devala Vyasa Swayam Chaiva Bravishime Nitya Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Vidadati Kaman Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sharvakarana Karanam. Yes, so welcome all. We'll continue. So we finished the chapter 9 and we left some few slokas, like 7-8 slokas for all of you to read. I hope you all read the sloka and the purports.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
So where are we now? So in the 9th chapter, we saw departure of Bhishmadev. So before departing Bhishmadev, few important sequence of events. Bhishmadev, being a great devotee of the Lord wanted to glorify him. Bhishmadev, in his heart, he has given his life for Krishna. So now Krishna wants to reciprocate. So Krishna made this arrangement. He told Yudhishthira, now that you are going to be throned as the king of Hastinapur, you need to know how to rule this kingdom. So you need to hear from great subject experts and how to rule this kingdom. So hence, Krishna advises Yudhishthira to go to Pitama Bhishmadev and hear from him. Along with Yudhishthira, many great personalities, thousands of great personalities, sages, they all left to Hastinapur's battlefield. And in that battlefield, they saw Bhishmadev lying on bed of arrows in Kurukshetra. So there, when Bhishmadev saw Krishna came in front of him, he was really happy. He said, my love, my object of my future, my object, the goal of my object of my life is in front of me. So Bhishmadev was very happy and he paid his respects to Lord Krishna and others. When Yudhishthira asked him the question, Bhishmadev explained that first you should understand who is this person who's standing here, Krishna. He is Sarvakarana Karanam, that is, he is the cause of all causes. From him, many expansions, right? Purusha avatar, Leela avatars, like that, many expansion happens. And he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shyamasundar. So he glorifies that Supreme Lord and he tells him that Because of his humility, he was moving around like an ordinary person, like a cousin with all of you, but he is not so. So he established the position of Supreme Personality Godhead. Then he talked about all kinds of dharma, the 5 kinds of dharma to Yudhishthira that king has to follow. So his conclusion is that if king is being looked at as, what do you say, like a guru, like a caretaker for all the king's men, the king has to give God consciousness to all the living entities and be a virtuous king. And that way, the king can deliver the entire kingdom at the end of their life. Right? So that was the major thing that Bhishma Dev spoke. He spoke detail about all these things, step by step. And after detailing all of them, Bhishma Dev glorified again Krishna as to how he meditated on that Lord. He meditated on the Parthasarathi form of the Lord. So, and then he said that by meditating on this form of the Lord, one should leave the body. And we read the entire chapter 8, almost 15 slokas we read. What should be the state of mind one should have at the time of leaving the body? And with that state of the mind, he can accomplish and reach the kingdom of Godhead. Right? So Bhishma Dev demonstrates by his personal example how one should live his life and one should leave his life. Right? So by seeing Krishna in front of him, by seeing his form, by seeing his rupa, which he was always meditated upon, by seeing those things, he fixed that in his consciousness and left his body. Now, after Yudhishthira left the body, the procedure was he was cremated by Yudhishthira and others. Then later on, Yudhishthira returned back to Hastinapur. And that ended Bhishma Stuti. We understood life of Bhishma Dev. And Bhishma Dev, as quoted by the Veda Shastra, he is a Mahajan. That means you have to learn from him and follow the footsteps of Mahajan to make our life successful. Okay? So now we're coming to the 10th chapter. So now you see how Bhagavatam is taking us. Okay? So in all these times we saw, the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. Then we saw Vyasadeva despondency. Then we saw life of Narada Muni and Narada Muni coming and teaching Vyasadeva what should be read. In the process, we saw life of Parikshit Maharaj. Then we saw the life of Pandavas. Then we saw Kunti Maharani prayers. Then we saw Bhishma Stuti. Now we're going to see the next 2 chapters, chapter 11 and 10 and 11, are 2 important chapters which is full of devotion. Why devotion? Krishna leaving to Dwaraka, or Krishna leaving Hastinapur, is going to be what is called a separation. That means Krishna was living with all of them. He won the hearts of all of them, and everyone was outpouring their love. You saw the outpouring of love from Kunti Maharani, right? You saw outpour of love from Krishna's sister Subhadra, right? The Pandavas and everyone. So now they were also attached to Krishna. But Krishna has a mission. So Krishna left Hastinapur. So the leaving of Hastinapur is such a wonderful subject to discuss because it explains love in separation. What is love in separation? Vipralamba. Right? So Krishna leaving Hastinapur is love in separation. And Krishna leaves to Dwarka, where he's going to unite with Dwarkavasis, and they're all waiting to unite with Krishna. And that is love in unification. That is Samoha. Right? So, you see, the Lord left Vrindavan, caused love in separation to all the Brajavasis. The Lord now stays in Dwarka and stays in Hastinapur and leaves Hastinapur. Again, love in separation. And he goes to Dwarka, he demonstrates Samoha, that means love in unification. And at the end of it, he will also leave Dwarka back home, back to Godhead. Now, in all these journeys, you see Krishna never returned back to any of these places, though he promises. He promises to the gopis that he'll come back. Now you'll see that he'll promise to all the Hastinapur Vasis that he'll come back, but he'll never return back. Now, what is he doing? Krishna lives for some period of time, and people will experience him. They really experience what is love of God it means. Now, that experience will reach love up to a certain extent. Let's say in a jar, 50% is filled with water, and that 50% is love that they would experience. But beyond that, they will not experience when Krishna is present. But when the Lord leaves, you see the balance 50% is experienced. So love in separation is topmost, is superior. You can also see that in your day-to-day life. We have our sisters, brothers, our parents, whoever it may be, right? When we are very much attached to them, we have certain amount of love. But once they leave, that you'll see, every day you'll remember them. You'll cry for them. You will recollect all the finer moments that you had with them. And then you cry for them. That is expression of real love. So similarly, the Vrajavasis, after Krishna left, every day they remember Krishna. Every minute they remember Krishna. Every time they would keep remembering the pastimes and activities of the Lord. They will sing for the Lord. They look at every stone, objects, trees, mountains, the sky, the water, and then they will ask, when will my Lord come? Love and madness. And this is called love in separation. And love in separation is supreme exhibition of love. And that's exactly what Krishna is making with all of us. In reality, Krishna came 5,000 years back. He is no more with us. Meaning, in physically present in his rupa form with us. So he has left his traces, his entourage, his associates. And what do? We take possession of that and remember that Lord. Right? When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left Puri, he gave an old cloth which he was wearing, like a chadar, to the king. And he told, this is not different from me. You can worship this chadar as if you're worshipping me. You see, the paraphernalia of the Lord and the Lord are not different. So the king, in separation, he kept worshipping, and then he found that even though the Lord is not physically present in front of him, but he was very much united with the Lord in consciousness. So similarly, great devotion means that even though Lord is not in front of us in a physical form, we continue to exhibit our gratitude, our love towards that Lord, and that is love of separation. So when that love of separation manifests very, very beautifully in the heart of devotees, you see, their sadhana bhakti becomes exemplified. They want to follow all the rules and regulations. They want to chant nicely. They want to sing kirtans and bhajans for the Lord. They want to do personal services for the Lord. So these are all characteristics and symptoms of love and separation to the Lord. There's no expectations. They want to just do this. Right? So this is the glory of Vipralamba Bhava. Now, when Krishna is going to leave Hastinapur, you will see many of them demonstrating their love of separation. That we will discuss in this chapter. Similarly, when Krishna goes to Dwaraka, you see many of them are uniting with Krishna. You will see Samoha. Oh, my Lord has come. So they want to, blow the trumpet. They want to dance, play music, this. All sorts of like a great festival will happen in Dwaraka. Right? Krishna has come. Right? So you will experience both of them now in this chapter 10 and 11. So 10 and 11 is full of love. Okay? And this love, when we hear it properly, when we understand the subject properly, you will see that you start to demonstrate in your devotional life. And your devotional life will fructify, will blossom like a flower. And that's why these two chapters are very important. Okay? So for that matter, every chapter in Bhagavatam, we say it is important. But this is the real reason. Okay? So are you all on the same page about what we're going to read now?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Hari Hari.
Yes,
Let's see.
Prabhu.
Canto 1, Chapter 10, Text 1. Shaunaka Vacha. Hatva Swariktasprida Atataniyo Yudhishthiro Dharmabrutam Varishtaha Sahanujay Pratyavarudha Bhojana Katam Pravarta Kim Akarashit Tataha. Translation. Shaunaka Muni asked, after killing his enemies who desired to usurp his rightful inheritance, how did the greatest of all religious men, Maharaj Yudhishthira, assisted by his brothers, rule his subject? Surely he could not fully enjoy his kingdom with unrestricted consciousness. Okay. Now the key word here is this line which I'm highlighting. Okay, so now you will see the first 5-6 slokas is all about conversation between the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunaka Rishi and Sutta Goswami. All right. Now, Shaunaka Rishi is asking Sutta Goswami, what did Yudhishthira do? What was his state of consciousness? How did he rule his kingdom? And what was the symptoms in the kingdom to call it as a great rule? How people were happy, right? Like that he's asking those questions. Okay. So let's read this purport. Can someone read the purport?
Hare Krishna. Maharaja Yudhishthira was the greatest of all men of religion. Thus, he was not at all inclined to fight with his cousins for the sake of enjoying the kingdom. He fought for the right cause because the kingdom of Hastinapura was his rightful inheritance and his cousins wanted to usurp it for themselves. He fought, therefore, for the right cause under the guidance of Lord Krishna, but he could not enjoy the results of his victory because his cousins were all killed in the fight. He therefore ruled over the kingdom as a matter of duty, assisted by his younger brothers. The inquiry was important for Shaunaka Rishi, who wanted to know about the behavior of Maharaja Yudhishthira when he was at ease to enjoy the kingdom. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Hare Prabhu. ಹೌದೌದು ತೊಗೊಂಬಿಡಿ ಒಂದು 60 ಲಯ 100 ತೊಗೊಂಬಿಡಿ 100 ಲಯ ಹೌದಾ ಸರಿ ನೋಡಿ 100 ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಓಕೆ ಸಾಕು Hare Krishna, sorry, it's morning service calls. So now you got to look at him. Now Yudhishthira Maharaj is doing his duty as a king, as a matter of duty, not out of attachment. Okay, and that is the key, and that's how great kings always do. When you do as a matter of duty, you see that you're not attached. When you're not attached, you're not worried too much about the fruitive result. You will just leave it to the Lord. I'll do my duty and the results will be awarded according to my dedicated duty. And that's the consciousness, right? If we lead our life also in a similar manner, right, you will see you are going to be far more happier and more God consciousness. And that is the goal of life. Krishna says, avaram karma, same thing. He talks about the same attributes. Do it as a matter of duty. Okay. Now let's read next sloka, 10.2. Suta vacha vamsham kuror vamshadavagni nirhirdam samro hayatva bhava bhavano harihi niveshayitva nijarajya ishvaro yudhishtaram pritamana babuvaha. Translation. Sutta Goswami said, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the maintainer of the world, became pleased after re-establishing Maharaj Yudhishthira in his own kingdom and after restoring the Kuru dynasty. which had been exhausted by the bamboo fire of anger. Okay, so now you should let's look at this keyword, which is bamboo fire of anger. So what is bamboo fire of anger? So if you go to the forest, right, you'll see bamboos would have grown in large shrubs. You know how bamboos grow? They don't grow as individual trees. They go as a collection of cluster of sticks, right? Each stem is like a stick, and they'll grow in clusters, right? They'll be very close to each other. In the summer, what happens, especially in the forest region, there is no rain and there'll be dryness. And due to dryness and the wind movement, the bamboos, they would scratch each other because of the wind movement. And because they're scratching, it would catch fire, right? And here it is exhibited, or it is equated that this fire by these bamboo trees are equated to the fire of the middle world, the fire of desire, the fire of suffering in this material world, right? So now what Sutta Goswami is saying, this middle world has to be balanced, should be taken out, out of its miseries. So Krishna tries hard every time, and that's where he says, no, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Okay, then after he says paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkritam. Now if you look at these two slokas, the key theme is Krishna wants to establish dharma again, because dharma has got degraded. In the earlier instance, we saw how dharma got degraded, why Mother Earth felt very painful, for two reasons. One is the Kurus, unwantedly by cheating, they usurped the entire land of others, right? Adharmic. Bigger than that is the population of Kshatriyas became so high that they ignored the advice and the message of the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas are representative of Godhead in the form of instructions, in the form of Lord's instructions. So when adharma prevails, the Lord says, okay, I'll come. When it reaches a threshold point, I will come and I will re-establish dharma. So that's what he exactly did. He saw that adharma had prevailed, so he ensured that he killed Vinashaya Dushkritam. He killed all those adharmic people and put Yudhishthir, who's epitome of Dharma, Dharmaraja, into the throne. And he also instructed Dharmaraja, you hear from Yudhishthir, you hear from Bhishmadev, you hear from others, and rule the kingdom according to what is righteousness. So that's exactly what is happening in the current state, what the Lord did with Yudhishthir. Okay, so let's go to next sloka. Okay, let me explain that in the next sloka, 10.3. Nishamya bhishmoktam atach uchoktam achyutoktam pravirta vijnana vidutta vibramaha sashashagam indra iva jitashrayah paridyupantam anujanuvartitaha. Translation. Maharaj Yudhishthira, after being enlightened by what was spoken by Bhishmadev and Lord Sri Krishna, the infallible engaged himself in matters of perfect knowledge. Here, perfect knowledge does not refer to material knowledge, it refers to knowledge referred by the Vedic Shastra, because all his misgivings were eradicated. Thus, he ruled over the earth and seas and followed by his younger brothers. So, you look at the rule of Yudhishthira. One was very detached, duty-bound, and it had a purpose. When the purpose was established, the burden that the Mother Earth felt was completely eradicated, and hence the life became so wonderful in the kingdom of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Okay, so we'll read the instruction here, and then we will discuss further. Someone read this highlight.
It is instructed in the Shastras that one should follow the great authority and the infallible Lord without any personal motive and manufactured ideology. Therefore, it was possible for Maharaja Yudhishthira to rule the whole world, including the sea, because the principles were infallible and universally applicable to everyone. The conception of one world state can only be fulfilled if we can follow the infallible authority. An imperfect human being cannot create an ideology acceptable to everyone. Only the perfect and the infallible can create a program which is applicable at every place and can be followed by all in the world. It is the person who rules and not the impersonal government. If the person is perfect, the government is perfect. If the person is a fool, the government, yes, Prabhu. The government is a fool's paradise. That is the law of nature. Thank you.
Oh, Hari, see, now Prabhupada is talking about, now we have different kinds of governmental systems today. We have democratic system, we have communist system, then we have different kinds of system today. Now, but what Prabhupada is talking about is adhere to a system where there is one head of the state and he is God consciousness. When he is God conscious, the policies and the rules established will not only please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but it will also benedict all the living entities with great nourishment. Right? Now let's look at how King Venar ruled the country. We'll go back to Srimad Bhagavatam. In King Venar's case, he was an adharmic king. He was doing all the activities that are unfavorable for happy living of the kingdom. It increases the burden. The Brahmanas were ill-treated. The women were ill-treated. Animals were killed because he did intense animal hunting. All those things were done. It reached an intolerable level that the Brahmanas had to kill him. Okay, so Vena was killed, and you see at the end of Vena's kingdom, it is described that there was no rains, and there were, drought, there were poverty, and there were other difficult situations, even for production of grains, everything, that the entire kingdom suffered. From the body of King Vena was extracted Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj is a great incarnation of the Lord. Now, Prithu Maharaj, when he performed the yajna, when he was a virtuous king, what happened? The Lord reciprocated. Right? The Mother Earth reciprocated, and then you see the kingdom of Prithu during his reign flourished like anything. Everyone are happy. There were great expansion, excellent construction. All those things were beautifully done. Right? So, the head of the state is very, very important. So today, why in a democratic system, why Prabhupada doesn't approve that in the fullest manner is because in a democratic system, there are all kinds of people. There are people who are intelligent class, there are also Sudra class, and there are also atheists and Mlechas and all sorts of people are there. Now, in a democratic system, everyone is given equal rights, and the conclusion is they will vote for a king or a head of the state who's not God conscious. And the result is suffering for the whole world. So that is the most important thing. And hence Prabhupada in his lectures, he would say that it is important that devotees take up key positions in administration of a society or an institution everywhere, because they can bring in policies that will really benefit the welfare of the whole living entities. Right? So it is important that devotees play a role across. Not just in the role of Shastra and Brahmanical life, but also in administration and things like that, because the right things can be instituted. Right? We have many, many such examples from Shastra. So let's summarize this now. To summarize is, Krishna wanted to establish Dharma. When Dharma is established, you see there will be miseries and sufferings vanquished out of this material system. So Yudhishthira, who is the epitome of Dharma, was instructed and made to sit. He was coronated the king. And Yudhishthira is now taking care of this kingdom with his brothers in the manner as per instructions of the Mahajanas. Right? And this way you see there will be happiness. Lord does this completely. If you take Satyuga, the first avatar onwards, till last the avatar of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Continuously you see the Lord does the same thing. He re-establish, and re-establish. But we are not understanding the consciousness of the Lord, the plan of the Lord. We keep on committing mistakes and we deviate out of this whole path. And that is the cost of misery in this material world. Right? Okay, now let's go to next sloka, 10.4. Kamam vavarsha parjanya sharva kama dugamahi shishuchusma varjan gavaha payasho dashvatir muda. Translation. During the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, the clouds showered all the water that people needed, and the earth produced all the necessities of man in profusion. Due to its fatty milk bag and cheerful attitude, the cow used to moisten the grazing grounds with milk. Amazing. Huh? Okay, just to have a glimpse of the rule of Maharaj Yudhishthira, we'll just read this highlight. Someone read this highlight.
Hare Krishna. The basic principle of economic development is centered on land and cows. The necessities of human society are food grains, fruits, milk, minerals, clothing, wood, etc. One requires all these items to fulfill the material needs of the body. Certainly, one does not require flesh and fish or iron tools and machinery. During the regime of Maharaja Yudhishthira, all over the world, there were regulated rainfalls. Rainfalls are not in the control of the human being. The heavenly king, Indradeva, is the controller of rains, and he is the servant of the Lord. When the Lord is obeyed by the king and the people under the king's administration, there are regulated rains from the horizon, and these rains are the causes of all varieties of production on the land. Not only do regulated rains help ample production of grains and fruits, but when they combine with astronomical influences, there is ample production of valuable stones and pearls. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So now let's look at how the Lord is the doer, right? Prakriti kriyamanani gune karmani sharvashah. Now in this what we understand, there are three personalities. One is the living entity, second is Prakriti, third is Lord. Okay. Now, only by the combination of all three, some activity or something can manifest in this material world. Right? The living entity desires, the Lord sanctions, Prakriti is an instrument which makes the sanction enabled to the living entity to do that particular activity. So these three. Now, if you say no Prakriti, then you will see, things like all these material elements that are required for survival cannot be done. No, so Prakriti is required. If there is no Lord, there is no one to sanction. If there is no one to sanction, none of these can be given. Okay. What about the living entity? Unless he desires, he will not going to do something. So, to desire the right manner, to understand the position of Prakriti, to seek the mercy of the Lord. All three are required in order to become successful in one's life. Okay. Krishna says in chapter 7:25, what does he say? He says, Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritah. So he says that the presence of the Lord is never understood by fools and unintelligent people, right? Because Lord is covered by his yogamaya. Now, the presence of Lord can be only understood by devotees or practicing devotion service. That means, hey, something happened in my life. It is because of the hands of the Lord. Something bad happened in life. That's also hands of the Lord because he wants to correct us. He wants to teach us this is not the right way to do. If you do this, you will suffer. He's teaching us. If something good has happened, that means Lord is pleased with our activity and hence he is motivating us to do further. So Lord says, my presence is not visible to your eyes directly. Naham prakasha sharvasya. But my hands are there in everything that is happening. Sarvakaran kav. Right? So if we understand this important point, which Maharaj Yudhishthira has understood. So from adharmic situation in this world, Maharaj Yudhishthira is establishing dharmic principles, and thereby there is great prosperities in the entire world. Okay, so that is the whole thing that is being discussed here. Okay, now let's look at, of course, there is more discussion about Parikshit Maharaj and all. How did Parikshit Maharaj, when he saw a black color dark demon cutting the legs of a cow, so then he understood that in Kali Yuga, adharma will prevail stronger. There are 4 pillars of religion. Out of all 4 pillars of religion, the 3 pillars of religion will be broken away, and the 4th pillars of religion, that is truthfulness, and that is the only thing that will prevail in the first quadrant of Kali Yuga. That do only till first quadrant of Kali Yuga, and that also will break. That means religion falls. Right? When religiosity is fallen, that means you see the mercy of the associates of the Lord, the mercy of devotees of the Lord, and the Lord himself are withdrawn. When the mercy is withdrawn, you see there is going to be tremendous pain and difficulty in this material world. People will suffer. And that's the 3 quadrants of Kali Yuga. You can see those ill effects right away as a sample. But once the first quadrant of Kali Yuga is over, then you will see very high intensity of Kali's strength and power, which will cause difficulty beyond manageable situations. And hence it is advised for all living entities to take shelter of the Lord. Always remember him. Always perform your Vaidika Bhakti, which will transform to Raga Bhakti. Always work in cooperation with devotees. Be renounced in what you want. Be detached in your activities. Do it as a matter of duty. If we slowly accumulate these principles, register deeper in our heart, we will see, we will blossom more stronger in our devotion service. This is what is required. Okay? Expression of gratitude is a very, very important feature that the devotee should practice. If our Guru Maharaj had not shown mercy on us, where will we be? In fact, our Guru writes this beautiful song, Yadi Prabhupada na hoito. If you read this entire song, he says, if Prabhupada, you had not come, Prabhupada, if you had not done this, if you had not, helped this person, if you had not teach this, if you had not, like this, he glorifies Prabhupada and says, gratitude, what would have happened to us? So he expresses gratitude in this manner. So similarly, we need to express our gratitude to our Guru, to Krishna, for whatever he has done to us in our life. We don't deserve it. But by his causeless mercy, he has given this great opportunity by us. So we have to grab it. We have to hold on to it in a strong manner. Okay, so let's go to the next sloka, 10.5. Nadya samudra giryaha savanaspati viruddaha falanti voshadaya sharvaha kamam anvritta tashyavai. Okay, look at this. Translation. The rivers, oceans, hills, mountains, forests, creepers, and active drugs in every season paid the tax quota to the king in profusion. Now, we talked about tax by people paying taxes. Now, look at this. Taxes are even paid by nature. How? In a timely manner. All 4 seasons will blossom. They do what needs to be done in that season. The rains will be profusely poured onto this land. All the things that are required, the minerals, the clothing, everything that is required for material life is also given in great quantities. So that's what he says. Taxes were paid to the king because the king established a rule of virtuosity, rule of God consciousness. Not only established, he ensured that he role modeled and he navigated the entire kingdom towards that. So that pleased the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is the yajna. Yagnat karmano yatra loko yam karma bandhana. That karma bandhana is being, knot of karma is being cut by these methods of practice of devotion. Right? So let's read something about how nature reciprocated. Okay? Can someone read the highlight?
Hare Krishna. The secret to success is to take refuge under the protection of the Supreme Lord. Without his sanction, nothing can be possible. To make economic development by our own endeavors on the strength of tools and machinery is not at all. The sanction of Supreme Lord must be there. Otherwise, dissipate all instrumental arrangements. Everything will be unuseful. The ultimate unsuccessful. The ultimate cause of success is
the
Daiva, the Supreme. The kings like Maharaja Yudhishthira knew perfectly well that the king is the agent of Supreme Lord to look after the welfare of the mass of the people. Actually, the state belongs to the Supreme Lord. The rivers, ocean, forest, hills, drugs, etc. are not creations of man. They are all creations of Supreme Lord. And the living being is allowed to make use of the property of Lord for the services of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare. The green also.
Yes, Prabhuji. We can make proper use of the things to live comfortably without enmity between man and man, or man and animal, or man and nature. The control of the Lord is everywhere. And if the Lord is pleased, every part of the nature will be pleased. The river will flow profusely to fertilize the land.
Hare. So what Krishna is saying, be God conscious, be a life of a dharmic example. And he says, importantly, look at this. We can make proper things to live comfortably without enmity between man and man. That means two men should not fight. They should cooperate. Some background noise, can you please mute? Yeah. So there should be cooperation among man and man. Is there cooperation today? At the country levels, they fight. Within the country, at every state levels, they fight. This state is angry with another state. Okay. Within the state, families, they fight. The houses, they fight. Within houses, people fight. Every house that you see, people fight. The brothers, they fight. The sisters, they fight. The friends, they fight. Neighbors, they fight. Everywhere, they fight. So there is no unity among man to man. There is no cooperation. Okay. Man and animal, is there cooperation? No, man is always hunting animals. He wants sense gratification. He wants to eat those animals in the form of non-vegetarian. Whether it is seafood, whether it is land, whether it is something flying in the sky, no, he doesn't want to spare. So there's no cooperation. Third, man and nature. Man and nature also is fighting. The man in the form of industrial development, economic development, is exploiting the nature. Today, you go see mountains are being eradicated in the form of granite extraction. Oil, fossil fuel continuously being extraction, causing instability to the plates and earthquakes. Because of so much of pollution, the complete, the heat levels are continuously going up. Ozone layer depletion, what not? Everywhere, man is not cooperating with nature also. So, you see, when the cooperation between two entities, which is not happening, Lord says he is not pleased. When the Lord is not pleased, there will be great sufferings and misery in this material world. Vishwamitra, when he saw that there is going to be difficulties in this world, the Lord has to be pleased. How he can be pleased? By uniting the energy and the energetic. The Lord and his pleasure consort, Mother Sita. When they're united, there will be great happiness and prosperity in this world. So he took that as his mission. He was an ordinary Kshatriya, mentality of conquering possessiveness. But when he learned devotion is the greatest, look at his mission. His mission changed from conquering and possessiveness to pleasure of the Lord, uniting the energy and the energetic. So hence, he devised a plan. He came to his father's place in Ayodhya, and then he pleaded that Lord Ram to assist his mission. But even though that mission of killing Tadaka was a small one, but his greater mission was to unite. So straight away he took him to Mithila and got the entire marriage ceremony done. He united Mother Sita, the pleasure potency of the Lord through Ram. And what happened? The result was Ayodhya flourished like anything. Ayodhya was entirely, technically the whole world. So that is important to understand. When we cooperate, we will please the Lord. When we don't cooperate, we are disturbing the Lord. See, one of the greatest gifts that you can pay back to your spiritual master, to the Supreme Lord, is having love, expression of love, kindness, cooperation, tolerant mentality, being sensitive to others. When we demonstrate these qualities, that is when the Lord is pleased, and the Lord benedicts you with unlimited mercy. He says, look at this, the river will flow profusely to fertile the land, profusely, not even a drop less. So much water will come to profuse the land. And if you look at that in the translation, he says the cows, their bags, the milk bags, right? The milk bags beneath the cows, they'll become bloated because of so much of milk. She's so happy. Cow is a representation of Mother Earth. When Mother Earth is happy, she demonstrates her happiness through the cow. When the cow is happy, the milk profusely gets produced and the milk bag becomes so big, it'll just fertile the entire land just by pouring the milk on the land. That's what our Shastra is explaining us. So this is very important to understand, that we demonstrate gratitude, we work cooperatively, and we work for the pleasure of the Lord. When we do these three things, no one can stop us to taste that Vipralamba Bhava from the Lord. Right? Okay. Let's read 10.6. Nadayo vyadaya klesha daiva bhutatma hetavaha ajatta shatrav abhavan jantunam rajnikar hichet. Translation: because of the king having no enemy, the living beings were not at any time disturbed by mental agonies, disease, or excessive heat or cold. Even the climatic conditions that the people faced was very favorable. There were no disease and there were no agonies. That means there's no mental tension. Now look at today's situation. Go back 30 years, 40 years back. Just 30 years, I'm not even talking about 100 years back. 30, 40 years back, families live unitedly in a single house. Every house you see, there are many members in that house. Today you see, everyone wants to live alone, including a small child. It wants to have its own room. They don't want to live unitedly. They want to live alone. So what happens when you keep taking this concept deeper and deeper? To cooperate with others, to accept and tolerate for others will keep coming down. Those days, if you remember, our uncles and aunts and relatives, they would just barge into the house in the Monday in the morning and say, oh, we just came, we want to be here for 2-3 days. And people would be welcoming them. They'll be happy. Oh, bunny, ನೀವು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಬೇಕು. They used to do a lot of preparation for them and be happy about it. Today, you have to go to someone's house, you have to call them, take appointment, and they'll not say yes immediately. They'll take 3-4 days and then say, okay, I can accept between these dates, then you can come. So much of rules and regulations today. You see, mentally also, to tolerate and to cooperate has gone down. This is today's situation. So hence, Bhagavatam says, the king has no enemies, because none of these qualities existed during the reign of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Diseases. All these years when I grew up, I'm sure it's applicable to all of you. You would have not heard so many heart attacks and so many strokes and so many cancers. In the last 10-15 years, or maybe 20 years, I don't know, you see, this has gone phenomenally high. Hospitalization and medical tests and things like that, phenomenally high. Because the diseases are also going up like anything, because of the whole Mother Earth, the nature is dissatisfied. So as we chant more, as we perform more Sankirtan, as we perform more and more devotion service, you see we can easily cross over these difficult situations. So hence Shastra tells that each and every house, they can create the mood of Vrindavan within their house by having nice forms of deities, daily performing the chanting by all the members in the house, by performing Arati ko Seva, by offering nice bhoga for the pleasure of the Lord, by nicely singing some bhajans for the pleasure of the Lord. You see, and worship of Tulasi, you see that house can become a Vrindavan by itself. It is very important that each one of us cultivate this mood in our houses. That's what makes our life perfect. And that's what Bhagavatam is demonstrating or talking about as perfection in one's devotional life. You can be at any state, anywhere, you can still do it. Okay, so now King Yudhishthira is demonstrating all these things. He's institutionalizing the cult of bhakti in everyone's heart, and thereby is delivering the entire kingdom. Okay, so this sloka, chapter 6, chapter 10, and sloka number 6 completes the real rule and the kingdom on the time of Yudhishthira Maharaj. You see how wonderful, glorious it was. Huh? We hope that we could have lived during that time. We could have witnessed Krishna, we could have witnessed a glorious king, we could have witnessed how to rule a kingdom, how to lead a life of truthfulness, virtuosity, everything we could have experienced. Okay, so now Lord is pleased. Now Lord wants to reside for some period of time in Hastinapur to please his mother Subhadra, his sister Subhadra. Why? Because Subhadra had lost her son Abhimanyu in the battlefield, and she is, in sort of an agony in her heart. So Lord Krishna decided to live in Hastinapur for some period of time. And after that, he is going to demonstrate Vipralambha Bhava. Okay, so 10.7. Ushitva Hastinapure Mashan Katipayan Harihi Suhuddam cha Vishokaya Swasuscha Priya Kamayaya. Translation: Sri Hari, Lord Krishna, resided in Hastinapur for a few months to pacify his relatives and please his own sister Subhadra Devi. So he spent his time for some period of time. Right? Now, next sloka we'll go to 10.8. 10.8 is now Lord departing to Dwarka. So you will see everyone is into a state of separation. There's so much of anxiety they will demonstrate, and that's what we will read now. 10.8. Amantraya chabhyanu jnatah parishvyajya abhivadyatam aruroha ratam kaischit parishvakto abhivaditah. Translation: Afterwards, when the Lord asked permission to depart and king gave it, the Lord offered his respects to Maharaj Yudhishthira by bowing down at his feet, and the king embraced him. After this, the Lord, being embraced by others and receiving their obeisances, got onto his chariot. Now look at the behavior of the Lord. The Lord is the primeval father, Adi Purusham, Govindam Adi Purusham, Adyam Purana, Yam Purusham, Nava Yavvanam Cha. So Lord, even though he is the father of all the living entities, but he is demonstrating culture here. Because the position of Yudhishthira, what did we say position of Yudhishthira? He is Haridasa Varyo. He not only demonstrates the qualities of Dasya Rasa, he demonstrates Sakya Rasa, he also demonstrates Vatsalya Rasa. That means like a fatherly or a parental. He demonstrates that rasa also. Now, apart from he demonstrating parental rasa, Yudhishthira is also head of the state. He is the king. So, the Lord is demonstrating and reciprocating for that by paying respects, by bowing down at his feet. See, this is called exemplary behavior. You have to read the details of that line and understand how Lord behaved and what should be my position. When we understand this, you see the quality of life for us changes. Okay, this is a very beautiful purport. Can someone read the purport for me? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Maharaja Yudhishthira was the elder cousin of Lord Krishna, and therefore, while departing from him, the Lord bowed down at the king's feet. The king embraced him as a younger brother. Although the king knew perfectly well that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, the Lord takes pleasure when some of his devotees accept him as less important in terms of love. No one is greater than or equal to Lord, but he takes pleasure in being treated as younger than his devotees. These are all transcendental pastimes of the Lord. The impersonalist cannot enter into the supernatural roles played by the devotees of the Lord. Thereafter, Bhima and Arjuna embraced the Lord because they were of the same age. But Nakula and Sakadeva bowed down before the Lord because they were younger than he. Hare Krishna.
Hari. So this tells us how to deal with someone who is elder to us, how to deal with someone who are of similar age, same age to us, and how to deal with someone who are younger than us. Okay? So with elder to us, what do? We are very respectful in nature. We deal with them with a lot of caution and we express gratitude. Don't we do that? Like we have many senior guest devotees coming to our temple, sannyasis coming to our temple. What do? We are very respectful with them. We bow down, we take their mercy, we seek their advice. We do all these things, correct?
Yes.
When we see devotees who are of equal nature to us, what do we do with them? We deal in the mode of friendship. We deal with them in a very respectful manner in terms of, not ordering them or not misbehaving with them or not trying to control them, nothing. Right? We deal with them with that cordiality. Right? So you see here, Lord is embracing Arjuna and Bhima. Lord is embracing because they were equal to him in his age. But when juniors to us, when we see with them, when we deal with them, we show compassionate. Okay, so they are come to this movement. They're juniors now. They will make mistakes. They will go in the wrong path. But what we need to do? We need to tolerate. We have to be compassionate to them and keep on teaching them until they one day become seniors and they also learn the art of devotion. That's exactly what the Lord is demonstrating. So this paragraph is a very, very important paragraph. I request each of you to read this purport, the sloka translation purport, this particular one, that is text.8, at least once or twice. And I request you to engrave the principles in your heart so that we make that as our role model in our life. We teach others by our role model. Okay. So let's go to the next sloka, 9.10. This we will do as the last sloka for the day. Subhadra Draupadi Kunti Virata Tanayatata Gandhari Dhritarashcha Yuyutsur Gautamo Yamau Vrikodarascha Dhaumyascha Striyo Matsya Sutadayaha Na Shehire Vimuyanto Viraham Saranga Danvanaha. Translation. At that time, Subhadra, Draupadi, Kunti, Uttara, Gandhari, Dhritarashtra, Yuyutsu, Kripacharya, Nakula, Sahadeva, Bhimasena, Dhaumya, and Satyavati all nearly fainted because it was impossible for them to bear separation from Lord Krishna. You saw the same phenomenon in Vrindavan. When Akrura came to Vrindavan to take Krishna Balaram, what happened to Vrajavasis? What happened to the parents of Lord Krishna? What happened to the gopis? They were all fainting. They couldn't tolerate. They were in tears. In every nook and corner, in each and houses where gopis were residing, they all rushed to the house of Nanda Maharaj because they could not believe that they're going to get separated from Lord Krishna. Right? The same thing happened here. This is epitome of love. This is the deepest love that one can exhibit. And that's what has been shown here. Let's read the purport for this. Very beautiful purport. Someone read the purport. Others, please take turns. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hmm.
That means Satyavati was still present, Prabhu. She is mother of Bhishma, no?
Daumya and Satyavati, so I don't know whether it is that same Satyavati. We have to go into the details
Yes, sir.
because many people may have the name Satyavati. So we have to see, because at the time of departure of Bhishma Dev only was very old.
Hmm.
Yeah. So Satyavati must be much, much older than that. So I don't know whether it is the same Satyavati. So technically, if you look at the time chart, this may not be that Satyavati of that we are referring to. It may be another Satyavati, who could be wife of someone like that, something.
Okay, thank you.
Last chapter,
Ah,
when we read about the rishis,
ah.
each rishi, Damya rishi was present for many yugas.
Yeah, some of the rishis are being benedicted like
His
that.
wife,
Okay, so some of these rishis are benedicted to live across many yugas also, but that's not the context here. So, okay, can we read the purport?
Yes,
Hare
sir.
Krishna.
But you have to move.
Lord Sri Krishna is so attractive for the living beings, especially for the devotees, that it is impossible for them to tolerate separation. The conditioned soul under the spell of illusory energy forgets the Lord, otherwise he cannot. The feeling of such separation cannot be described, but it can simply be imagined by devotees only. After his separation from Vrindavana and the innocent ruler cowherd boys, girls, ladies, and others, they all felt shock throughout their lives, and the separation of Radharani, the most beloved cowherd girl, is beyond expression. Once they met at Kurukshetra during a solar eclipse, and the feeling which was expressed by them is heartrending. There is, of course, a difference in the qualities of the transcendental devotees of the Lord, but none of them who have ever contacted the Lord by direct
Communion.
communion or otherwise can leave him for a moment. That is the attitude of the pure devotee.
That's the pure devotee. Okay. So there are many things to understand out of this. So when our devotion is fructified, the yoga process, that means our connection with the Lord, has established fully. You will never want to cut that yoga process. You will always want to perform devotion. The Lord always wants to get connected to the devotees. Not even a minute the devotees want to be in separation of the Lord. That is pure devotion. So they either want the association of the Lord in the form of rupa, that means physically present in front of him, or in the heart, or in the form of his instruction, or in the form of his sound. Somewhere the devotees want to be associated with the Lord. They cannot be separate from the Lord. And that is truthfulness of pure devotion. Now, hence, Prabhupada says, Satatam kirtayanto mam. All the time, a devotee will be in unification with the Lord in some form or the other. That is important. That is pure devotion. So, there is pastime you should know. There is Bhauma Vrindavana and there is the Goloka Vrindavana. So, in Goloka Vrindavana, Gokul, his Lord names Gokul or Shyamasundar. He is always in association with his devotees. He is performing many pastimes, these pastimes of love, these pastimes of togetherness. Wonderful pastimes are being performed in Goloka Vrindavan all the time, non-stop. And the devotees are also enjoying in presence of the Lord. They serve the Lord, they reciprocate with the Lord. Whatever you see in the Vrindavan pastimes in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, many multifolds of that you will see the devotees in the Goloka Vrindavana experiencing. Okay? So now, the Lord wants to manifest into the earthly planet. Right? So when does he manifest? One day in life of Brahma. Right? Every day in life of Brahma, Lord manifest. In the day of life of Brahma, during his noon time, 12 o'clock time, whichever time period that avatar is happening, there Swayam Bhagavan Shyamasundara manifest. That means he descends from Goloka to that earthly planet and performs wonderful pastime. When he wants to do that, the devotees in Goloka, they are saying, no, we will not agree. We will not allow you to leave this Vrindavan Dham because we can't be in separation from you. So the same way, in Bhauma Vrindavan, when the Lord is performing his pastimes, when Akrura came to collect Lord or take Lord back to Dwaraka, not Dwaraka, to Mathura, the Vrajavasis do not want to be in separation of Vrindavan. And hence, Lord expands into Vasudeva. And as Gokul, he remains in Gokul, which is, Vrindavan and Gokulavana, Vrindavana. And the expansion, which is Vasudeva, which is more karmic in mood, he is not demonstrating that rasa dance and all those things. He is coming to Hastinapur to perform this great war of Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya. Right? So you see, the devotees also don't want to leave the Lord, and Lord also doesn't want to leave the devotees, and hence he expands into many of these avatars at various time, place, circumstances to fulfill the needs and also to fulfill the needs of the devotees. So this is one of the major reasons why Lord does expansion. Okay. So what we will do is we will stop here for today's class. We'll continue from the next class on more detailing what happened to various devotees, what all they exhibited, and how Lord was respectfully sent off. All those things we will see. Very, very brilliant it is. Okay. So we will stop here and we'll take questions. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Dandashmana.
Prabhuji, this uniting the energy and energetic, that can you kindly explain, Prabhu?
So from Lord Sri Krishna to his right side, he expands into Balaram. So Balaram is an expansion of the knowledge potency, and he is called the Adi Guru. That means when we say Guru Parampara, all this Guru Parampara came from Balaram, and you see the expansions of Balaram also into quadruple expansion, then Leela avatars, then second quadruple expansion, then Purusha avatars, all those things, Guna avatars, everything happens. Okay, so this is one potency of the Lord. The other potency of the Lord is the pleasure potency, the Haladini Shakti of the Lord. The Haladini Shakti manifests from the left side of the Lord. If you say energy, let's say that Shakti is energy, that energy, if you give a form, Rupa, that is Srimati Radha. So Sridhar Radharani is supreme pleasure potency of the Lord, and she is the supreme servitude to Godhead. Now, the energy of the Lord and the energy, the source of energy, cannot be separated. Because the energy of the Lord and the energetic, they manifest from each other. It cannot be separated. So if it cannot be separated, technically, Lord Sri Krishna and Srimati Radharani cannot be separated. Okay? What is the goal of Srimati Radharani? Is to serve the Lord, is to please the Lord at every point in time. Whenever she pleases the Lord, she is feeling more happy. And her blissful nature increases. Her beauty increases. Her aura increases. Seeing a devotee is being pleased, the Lord also is more happier. That means the growth of happiness between Lord and the devotee is unlimited. It just keeps on expanding. Energy and the energetic cannot be separated. And the purpose of that pleasure potency is to serve the Supreme. Okay? So now what happens? Lord Ram and Mother Sita is the same. Lord Ram is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Mother Sita is the pleasure potency of that Lord. They cannot be separated. When they are separated, you see the Lord is not pleased. When the Lord is not pleased, there will be more miseries in this creation. So Vishwamitra saw that. He took that as a goal, and he united the pleasure potency of the Lord with the Lord. That means he brought Mother Sita to the Lord. And there was happiness. That's why Sita Kalyanam is supposed to be one of the topmost activities pursued by the Sri Sampradaya. Anything event at home, before they want to event at home, they will do Sita Kalyanam. If there's an opportunity, they'll go to Tirupati, they will do Sita Kalyanotsavam. They'll keep doing this because it makes the Lord pleased. And when the Lord is pleased, he benedicts. He awards unlimited mercy on the living entities. And that's why you see those days when they do Kalakshepam, they will do Sita Kalyam just like that. If there's a wedding at home, they first do Sita Kalyam, then they will do wedding at home. Any good event, they will do Sita Kalyam. That was the tradition that people lived with. So today people have lost all those traditions. They've forgotten. And hence the direction of us is going in a different way. Artificial intelligence, computers, technology, war, defense systems, we're all going in that direction. Love is all gone. It's only fully now protection, hatred, and how to kill others. Huge transformation in the society's consciousness. That is a big problem.
Okay, Prabhu.
Today, our Prime Minister instantiated Ram Lalla. He probably knows this. So, in order to get the success for this country, peace for this country, he said first the deities need to be honored. He did that. And people, atheists and others, don't understand this. Only devotees can understand this. Now, Ram Lalla, that is a place of his birth. When he is pleased, he awards benediction. There will be serenity, happiness in this entire country. That's what exactly he's doing. Okay, yes, Prabhuji. You had another question.
Prabhu, this energy is the energy of the Lord. And energetic means we have to understand that it is the devotees, like that, Prabhu?
Prabhu, energy, source of energy.
Yes, sir.
Without source of energy, energy cannot be created, correct?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
So, one is source of energy, one is energy itself.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that's how we understand.
Prabhu, one more point, Prabhu. This Dasharatha was never a devotee of the Lord. He never even considered the advice of Lord Sri Krishna. And Gandhari also cursed Sri Krishna after Kurukshetra war. But it is stated that in that is Vipralamba Bhava, they also fainted at the time of the Lord living. How to understand this, Prabhu? Whether they have been transformed as devotees later?
See, Prabhu, let's take our ISKCON temple. Okay? How many devotees come to our temple? Sunday feast, how many people are there? How many are there, Prabhu? Is he there or not?
Prabhu, 300 or so, Prabhu.
Okay. Are all 300 pure devotees?
Maybe about 80% may be pure, Prabhu.
We don't know. It may be 10% also, it may be 80% also. We don't know.
Yes, Prabhu.
That means all kinds of people are there in the ISKCON temple on the day of Sunday feast, trying to practice devotion.
Yes.
You got the point?
Yes, yes.
So, like that, even though Dhritarashtra and Gandhari may not be devotees of the Lord, they are also present.
They were present, Prabhu, but it is as per the translation. They
They will
also.
see, Prabhu, it is momentarily separation.
Okay.
Yeah, Krishna, you were there all this time, now we're getting separate from you. So, like that momentary separation is what they're demonstrating. It is not that their change of consciousness, they've realized the Lord, no, nothing of that. You'll see in the future slokas, you will see how they were atheist.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful class, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna
Yeah.
Prabhu. Who is the Daumya Rishi Prabhu?
Daumya Rishi, I don't know. Anyone else knows? Anyone knows Daumya Rishi's lineage? Okay, Mataji, I'll check and tell you. I'll check the lineage and tell you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Prabhu, whatever question you asked last time, the answer is in the purport of verse 8, Prabhu.
See, I'm not asking anything out of context. I'm asking everything within the context. But my point is, you should read and you should keep the same pace with me. Then what happens? The subject matter is very strongly engraved in your heart. See, once the subject matter sits strong in your heart, you're going to be excellent devotees because you'll not make mistakes. Right? So that's the purpose. That's why we're saying knowledge is key to success. Okay. Any other last question? One last question. Okay, so we'll end here. Thank you all for your wonderful association in the morning. Grandharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha. Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Tat Sat. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
All have
Thank
wonderful.
you. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dhanush Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Dhanush.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranams.
Dhanush.
Prabhu, myself and my Prabhu are
Hare
traveling.
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Mataji, you send me by WhatsApp message, Mataji.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna,
Pranam,
Dhanush.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dhanush.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavata Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Dhanush.
Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dhanush Pranam.
ಪ್ರಭು ಒಂದ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಸಾರಿ ಅದು ಇವರು ಬಾಲಾಜಿ ಪ್ರಭು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಭು ಧೌಮ್ಯ ಋಷಿಗಳು ಅದು ಪ್ರಭು ಸೇಮ್ ಕ್ಯಾಂಟೋ 1 ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 9 6 to 7 ಶ್ಲೋಕ ಪರ್ಪಟ್ಲಿದೆ ಪ್ರಭು ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ಧೌಮ್ಯ ಅನ್ನೋದು.
ಓ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಎಸ್ ಪ್ರಭು ಪಾಂಡವರ ಪೌರೋಹಿತ್ಯ ವಹಿಸಿದ್ರು ಮತ್ತೆ ಈವನ್ ಪಾಂಡವಾಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ದ್ರೌಪದಿ ಮದ್ವೆ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಇವರೇ ಪುರೋಹಿತರಾಗಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಈವನ್ ವನವಾಸದಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ಗೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅವ್ರ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಇದೆ ಪ್ರಭು.
ಹೌದಾ? ಬಟ್ ಕೃಪಾಚಾರ್ಯ ತನ he was acting as a guru. ಓ ಕೃಪಾಚಾರ್ಯ was ಪರೀಕ್ಷಿತ್ ಮಹಾರಾಜ್.
ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಕುರುಕ್ಷೇತ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಪ್ರಭು ಬಟ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ದಟ್ ಧೌಮ್ಯ ಮುನಿಗಳಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಪ್ರಭು.
ಓ ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ.
ಅಂಡ್ ಇವನ್ ಪ್ರಭು ರಾಣಿ ಮಾತಾಜಿ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ವಾ ಇವರು ಸತ್ಯವತಿ ಇದ್ರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಪ್ರಭು ಅದು ಇದು ಲೈಕ್ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಪ್ರಭು ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಸತ್ಯವತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ಸ್ಯ ಸುತ ಆದಯ ಬೆಸ್ತನ ಮಗಳು ಅಂತ ಇದೆ ಪ್ರಭು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಭೀಷ್ಮಾಚಾರ್ಯರ ಮಲತಾಯಿ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಇದೆ ಪ್ರಭು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ.
ಯಾವ ಶ್ಲೋಕ?
10th ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 9 and 10 ಶ್ಲೋಕ ಪ್ರಭು.
9 and 10 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ರೀಡ್ ದ ಪರ್ಪಟ್. So Lord Shri Krishna attractive.
ವರ್ಡ್ ಟು ವರ್ಡ್ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರಭು, ವರ್ಡ್ ಟು ವರ್ಡ್ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಭು. ಮತ್ಸ್ಯ ಸುತ ಆದಯ.
So Satyavati, Bhishma's stepmother.
Yes ಪ್ರಭು ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ.
So ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದೆ. Oh, that same Satyavati she is continue to live.
Yes ಪ್ರಭು. Yes ಪ್ರಭು. Actually she was in a ಅವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಭು ವೇದವ್ಯಾಸರು ಲೈಕ್ ಮುಂದೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಯುದ್ಧ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಯು ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಇದು ಅರಣ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗು ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅವ್ರು ಹೋಗ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಭು ಮೇ ಬಿ ದರ್ಶನ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ರ ಇನ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ.
Oh, she's been living so long then. Amazing.
Yes.
Which is Matsya Suta Adya. Correct. The daughter of a fisherman, Satyavati, Bhishma's stepmother. All correct. Okay, good. Thanks, Mataji, to pay attention to detail and helping me.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay, very nice, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.